Alright guys, I am here with my good friend Graphic Vandal, and yeah, I'm not ever going to do that voice again, I'm sorry, but we're here today to give you a fun list, a list that you've been waiting for, a list that involves violence, and involves backstabbing. Well, it's just a crime list. It's the best 10 crime stories we can come up with. Of course, there's a lot more out there that we'd probably put on the list of our top 20, 30, 40. We could probably make a 50s list easy enough, but we wanted to do 5 that really resonated from each of us, so that makes 10 altogether. So don't worry if yours isn't on here, list yours below, but let's get right into the list. One of my absolute favorite crime stories is a crime story called Criminal. Well, I mean, it's, you know, how are you not going to mention Criminal in the crime story countdown? I mean, that's ridiculous. Anyway, Criminal is a series of multiple storylines throughout its run, each one kind of its own thing that relates to criminal action in some sort. So both Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips come with this crime almost masterpiece in my opinion, and they really put in amazing work as the crimes range from heisting to murdering your wife to revenge and more. This is easily one of the best and most accessible crime story because you can pick up each volume and understand it because it's its own story. So check this one out.
Well, all right. And first up for me, we have Spencer and Locke, written by David Propose, with fresh and fun art by Jorge Santiago Jr., published by Action Lab. And yeah, I decided to start off with the fun one because I'm going to get brutal in a few minutes. And Spencer and Locke is just a wild and fun noir-style detective story that blends newspaper comic book nostalgia with tough-as-nails crime drama. And the story for this one is all about Detective Locke. And Locke's partner is a giant talking blue panther named Spencer, who is Locke's imaginary friend. When they land a new case involving a friend from Locke's past, the duo must return to their old neighborhood, and this opens some old wounds. And we learn why Locke is as odd as he is and his need for Spencer, and it's just so good. The idea of a comic that's like Calvin and Hobbes meets Ed Brubaker's Criminal is something I'll always be interested in, and this comic does it almost perfect. I also love the flashback segments drawn in newspaper comic strip style fashion. This comic just rules.
Next up is 4 kids walk into a bank. Let's go into a more humorous trip into crime. 4 kids walk into a bank is exactly what the story is. Well, it sounds like it's what it is. 4 kids one day decide to work together to rob a bank for multiple reasons. I'm not going to spoil them here. But both Matthew Rosenberg and Tyler Boss weave together a funny, touching, sad, and thrilling adventure into a coming-of-age story. And crime tales should make you feel something, whether it's the rush of the heist or the rush of the emotion of losing people in the storyline. And Matthew Rosenberg does a great job of telling this story. Check out 4 kids walk into a bank.
And next up is Bang Tango, written by Joe Kelly with moody as hell noir art by Adrian Saibar. Originally published by Vertigo Comics, but was reissued by Image Comics. And if I'm being honest, you really want to check out the Image version of the book. It has a much better color palette that fits the story beautifully. And Bang Tango is a fast, loose, and wild tale of owning up for past mistakes, love, loss, and scorn, and bloody betrayals. The story for this one is all about Vinny, an ex-criminal trying to start a new life on the other side of the country, when trouble from his past finds him and talks him into doing one last job against the mob boss who's after him. And I just love it. This book goes to some really odd and disturbing places and has a wonderful gut punch of a twist ending. I really wish Joe Kelly would do more crime comics because he made one of the best and insane yet with Bang Tango.
Stray bullets. I gotta have a big thanks to my buddy here, Vandal, for actually telling me about this title and to read it. On my cruise ship adventure this year, I brought this massive omnibus with me to read, and I read it in 4 days. It's a thrilling adventure of individual stories that are all linking together. You have central characters, but honestly, the best part about this is you could just read any story, any issue, and still get these emotions that are sad or gut-wrenching moments mixed with dark, and it's just perfect. It's a criminal storyline, the themes, but a real human connection. Absolutely one of the greatest comics of all time, but definitely one of the best crime stories. Check this out.
Cool, cool. And next up, let's take a peek at Sombra, written by the always on point Justin Jordan, with just savage and devastatingly gory art by Raul Trevino, published by Boom Studios. And damn, being blunt, this book is really pretty fucked up. It's a disturbing trip into the savagery of the cartel wars in Mexico, and it tells a story that resembles what you get if you mix the movie Sicario with Apocalypse Now. The story for this one is about a unit of DEA agents that go rogue, and they decide to try to fight the cartel using their own tactics. But like in all things, this isn't a black and white scenario, and the gray area becomes apparent, as this book spares no detail about the innocent civilians caught in this mix, and what you end up with is a gut punch of epic proportions and a brutal look into a subject most fully don't understand. And it's amazing. I applaud Jordan's willingness to take this book to such blunt and unforgiving places. This book is real, this book is savage, and I can't recommend it highly enough.
We're going to go with Punisher Max, in particular the Slavers storyline. Punisher Max is a pretty long-running series, but Garth has a particular hidden talent, or not even hidden, to tell these great crime stories, especially with the Punisher. There's a powerful message about people ignoring the problems of the world, or even acknowledging it because it doesn't affect them. So who cares if women get kidnapped and put into slavery? And I really thought that was actually a mature angle for Garth Ennis to go with a Punisher story. On top of that, we actually watched the Punisher take the law into his own hands and deal with these fuckers. I really thought this was a great revenge crime story and well worth reading, and easily the best one I've read for the Max or any Punisher storyline so far.
Okay then, and how about next we hop on over to High Crimes, written by my main man Christopher Sabella, with lush and vivid art by Ibram Mustafa, and has been published by Monkey Brain, Dark Horse Comics, and is being reprinted by Image Comics. And High Crimes is really a different kind of crime drama that takes on and tells two coinciding stories in two different times involving espionage. And the book does a beautiful job of building up its tension and the paranoia of the story, and can become downright claustrophobic. The story for this one is all about Zan, a disgraced Olympic athlete on the run from the law who ended up in East Asia, and she makes her money climbing Mount Everest to identify dead climbers to bring closure to their families at an exorbitant price. On one of her climbs, she stumbles upon something that was better left buried in the past, and her life becomes a fight to the top of the mountain and hopefully safety. And yeah, this book is epic. Sabella is an incredible writer, and he always gives you so much to read in his books that makes his stories so full and well-rounded, with lots of dimension to them, and makes them utterly captivating. High Crimes is unreal good, yo.
And last but not least, you've probably seen this title a million times, Killed or Be Killed, on one of my lists. Of course this is going to make my list because I absolutely fucking love this book. This is all about Dylan, who makes a deal with the devil to go around and kill people who deserve to be killed. Could be drug dealers, could be sex drivers, could be pedophiles, and more. It's a great mix of crime and drama to near perfection, with a little bit of supernatural twist put in there. To me, this is the best of the best with comics, or some of the best, but for me, one of the greatest comics of all time. And Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips do not disappoint once more.
Alright, and last but surely not least from me, we've got the OneTrick Ripoff, written and drawn by one of comics' true gods, Paul Pope, and has been published by Dark Horse Comics, Horse Press, and Image Comics. And the OneTrick Ripoff is just a beautiful, tragic story full of that 90s nihilism I just love. And it tells a story about love, desperation, and crimes of passion. Mix in some telepathic powers, and you have a wild, savage story about the crazy things people do when they feel like they have no hope. And the story for this one is all about Vim and Tubby, two young lovers stuck in a city of vice and violence. When they get the idea to rob the gang Tubby's a part of, the OneTricks. But they aren't the only ones making big plans, and what seemed like a quick snatch and grab for a better future becomes a fight for survival. And it's just marvelous. This graphic novel is just a glorious, heartbreaking masterpiece that I love with all of my heart. Paul Pope made pure magic with this book, yo.
So that is our list. I mean, there's so many great crime stories. So please list yours below. If none of these you've read, check them all out. We recommend them 100,000%. And everybody, have Have a great day.